Good morning, Matt.
Rick, what's going on, man?
You, brother. You.
You're just out of town.
I was.
Where'd you go?
I spoke at the Perform Better Summit. They're back to live events.
Back to live events. That was probably fun, huh?
It was
It's
great.
like a reunion.
It felt like everyone was like, almost manic just to be out and to see each other live and in person. So everyone was super excited. It was a great crowd. I think they were at around 60 to 70% capacity, which is better than they were shooting for 50%. And it was a lot of unique first timers. So that's good overall, right? Like maybe some of the people that have been doing it for a long time, they didn't come, but it was a ton of like fresh faces there. Yeah. So it was great.
When's your next one?
Chicago coming up in a few weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. I loved it. I did 30 years of hard lessons. So it's, you get to lay down the fire and brimstone. I sound like a grouchy
Was that
old
like
dude.
a 12-hour talk?
I know, right? 30 years of lessons trying to get that into an hour. It's like, don't be a jerk. Work hard. Let me see. Yeah, it's just basically a bunch of stories that illustrate points.
You're a good storyteller.
Well, you've got to have those, right? That's, it's the stickiest thing. Like from a marketing standpoint, storytelling is more sticky than just bullet points. That's for damn sure.
It's a true art, man, being able to storytell.
Okay, Matt. So I'm a little bit hurt. Feelings are hurt.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Last night I was talking to Andrea, and I asked her, in no uncertain terms, babe, am I the only one you've ever been with? And she deadpan looked me in the eye and said, yes. All the other ones were 9s and 10s.
Nice. I'm not going to follow that up. You even just wrote on the plane looking that up or figuring that out?
Dude, I got them. I got them on deck. I'm in that age now. I'm like nothing but, I'm full of dad jokes and nothing else.
Oh my gosh. How do you get a blind person to see? Usually by boat.
I like that, dude. That's good.
I can't remember those long ones.
I know. Some of the ones I love are way too long. I know. Oh, man. Well, here's what we're going to talk about today, folks. I get a lot of questions, and of course, doesn't everybody say that? Like, I've been getting a lot of questions about, but I'm talking about through the lens of franchise candidates. So it's not like a lot of people in the industry ask me this. But when I'm on calls, because we service personal training in a different way, I think somehow people think it's not personal training. So I had a great call this morning with a good alloy candidate for the CEO validation call. Mm-hmm. And he, when it's time for him to ask me questions, he simply asked, there's a lot of class-based concepts out there. How do you guys differentiate yourself from personal training and from class-based concepts? And it was an interesting question. And I think a lot of people have asked that in different ways in our process. And I was a bit surprised because I think for me, it's like, well, it's not different than personal training. It is personal training.
Sure is.
But I think when people start digging into the mechanisms and how it works, they see that we're training 6 people with one coach. And for some reason, they think it's something else. Like on one end of the spectrum, you have class-based fitness concepts, of which there's plenty. On the other end of the spectrum, you have a couple of one-on-one concepts, which are typically, again, they're not as scalable and they're not as profitable. So It's not as good for consumer, not as good for the business owner. And we sit in the sweet spot in between. But what I want everyone to hear and understand is that we are attacking the same customer avatar as the one-on-one training gym. We're just giving them a better value proposition. And it is, at the end of the day, it 100% is personal training. So I thought it would be nice to knock up a podcast on what are the things that make 6-to-1 personal training. And this will be good for any candidates that are listening to try to understand, like, how is this personal training? It will also be good for anyone that's a current franchisee that's running the play as a reiteration of how we think about it, or anyone in the industry who's running a play that, that's similar, to understand how is it that you make 6 people feel, smell, look like personal training. So I think it's a great topic.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, that's what's on our door, and that's what, people are coming in. That's what they're asking for. So.
Well, it's the same brand promise, and I'm very proud of this, that we've had since 1992. Mm-hmm. Granted, back then we serviced it in a one-on-one setting, started out with a 1-hour one-on-one session. Then we went to 30 minutes. Then it went to a couple of people, and then 3, and then 4, and then we tried 8, and we came back, and we actually landed on 6 through massive amounts of trial and error, not only in our facility, but with our licensed facilities as well. And that's the peak number for client value, meaning we can bring the cost down where it's a very valuable proposition to that right avatar. But then on the other end of the spectrum, it's the limit that we can go to and still keep the claim and the name personal training on the front door. But I think this will give us an opportunity to discuss how do we do that? Maybe not necessarily the nuts and bolts, because we've talked about that ad nauseum on a million other podcasts, how our programming works, how our scaling system works, all of those things. I think more along the line of what are the things that really make it personal training beyond the business systems? Because I think in this day and age, if you say we're personal training because we have kettlebells or because we coach exercise well or because we have dynamic workouts or because the facility's clean or we have towel service, to me, that just barely gives you the right to even be in business. And I think that puts you on par with like a 9 million other fitness concepts that are out there. So then what is the stuff that then makes 6 people as good, if not better, because of the value proposition than one-on-one training? So that's what I would like to discuss today.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go. Let's do it.
Well, you're building these, not only the workouts, but also the customer experience. So what are your thoughts? What, in a nutshell, without digging in too deep right now, what do you think is the thing that makes what we offer?
I mean, right out of the gate, people come to you for your expertise and they need help, right? They need somebody, that expert, to show them what they can do, what they can't do. So what we're really good at, and we've again scaled it to 6 people, is we are very, no matter how many, who's in front of us, we can specifically give each person what they need based on their, fitness level, injuries, and things like that. So that's, rule number 1. It's not everybody does the workout and we're going in a circuit, right?
Well, and when we get back to why business systems are so important, is because it gives you a platform to stand on to scale. Mm-hmm. But then beyond that, it's still personal training. And we always talk to people about this because you run the risk of, as you describe it, if it's just a high level look, a personal trainer or a coach might look at it and say, oh, well, I don't want to do other people's workouts. Well, anybody that's running this or that's in an Alloy franchise, and I can tell you that if you're not, you still have to be a coach. Mm-hmm. Like, we try to account for regressions, progressions. If you're injured in this way, do this, if this, then that, algorithms, that type of idea. And most of that's nailed. But the fact is, humans aren't completely static. They show up and they are an advanced level client that can do anything you want in the gym. So you're giving them the power level workout in our systems. And then it turns out that they, tweaked their back, like, lifting some mulch in their backyard this weekend. It's like, well, then all bets are off. You have to coach around that. So it is really about approaching each individual from an exercise standpoint first. Like you mentioned, like, what does that person right in front of me need today? That means, how do they feel today? Do they have any little injuries that have popped up that don't necessarily, necessitate a complete program redesign? Where are they mentally? Are they in good mood, bad mood, right? Have they been stressed? Are they getting a lot of sleep? I mean, there's a lot of things that factor in to, hey, how are you today? Essentially, you better ask that, because you're going to get an answer, and that answer is going to dictate how to apply that workout. And you've got to use some common sense. And we've got everything handled from a system standpoint. Again, here's a massive platform to stand on where you can scale like crazy, but you still have to be a coach, right? And what it boils down to me, because that's the exercise piece, but I think more importantly is treating every single person in front of you, whether it's a group of 6 or 1, as if they're the only person that you're training that day.
Yeah.
Now, Matt, you've built, our 7 core tenets, which is all the little soft stuff around the workouts that make them feel, smell, look like personal training, right? Mm-hmm. And those are, you can go back and listen to the 7 core tenets podcast, you guys, but it's just things like, we're using the name game. We're explaining the benefits of the exercise. We're introducing them to other people to build community. We're finding wins. We're asking them if they're coming in for the next workout. We're thanking them as they go out the door. If you just do that, that gets you to that. I think we talked about this last time, that consistent customer experience that will help drive it. But I think, to take it a step further, it's, what does every single person in that group need as an individual? And more so than what's happening in the workout is, what do they need from you as a health advisor, coach in their life to be successful, not only in the gym, but outside of the gym?
Well, that's accountability, right? They need somebody. That's why they came to you. They wanted somebody to guide them through this journey. So, and then most times it starts out with just simply showing up to the gym. Right? Are you keeping them accountable to coming in? When am I going to see you next? One of our core tenets. But it always, like you said, it grows beyond that. What are we working on next? After that first 30 days, we're consistent working out, probably going to nutrition, right? Are you getting enough protein? Or could be something else. Maybe they're getting ready for a race, right? Are you going outside? You doing the runs that we talked about or whatever it may be. And it's somebody guiding them all the time through whatever it is that they're working on. And it could be even just tough times, right? It could be just like, oh God, how's your sleep going? How's your stress? I mean, it changes all the time.
Yeah. And to your point, our retention level is world-class.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that it's world-class is because each individual is going to have in, say, 3 years, or we've got folks here at the corporate gym, you guys that have been here as long as we've opened. Imagine having someone for 30 years.
Right.
Do you think it's realistic to think in 30 years, if you plotted their beginning and their still continuation here at Alloy, that it's just this linear path? No.
No, it's all over the place.
All over the place, because you'll have death in the family. You'll have ups and downs with your weight. You'll have times when you're busier at work. You'll have times when you're vacationing more. I mean, all these things come into play. It's our job as a coach and a personal trainer to manage people through the lens of health and fitness, to manage all of that for them, right? And so I think when you look at what's going down in, say, a group of 6, is that you know where each individual is, you know personally what they're going through in their personal lives, and you can keep them on track, whether it's just giving them, some people need a little bit of like ribbing, because they're doing well and you want to push them a little bit.
Right.
Other people are having a really tough time in their personal lives and they need a little bit more sugar than shit, as an idea. So I think all those things come into play. No different than if you stood out on the floor and trained one person after the other as a one-on-one client. You would just be talking to just that person, so you'd know everything about them. Right. We've got all the communication tools and everything to scale that to 6 people. So to your point, each individual is getting what they need at that point in time based on who they are and what their goals are, period. And a lot of it has to do with not just the workout in front of us, it's the things outside the gym.
Sure.
But the lenses that you have to put on the business or those clients, if you're a trainer and or an owner, is each person is an individual. It is by default personal training.
You're putting a personal back in personal training, baby.
Well, it's true, and I mean, I think when you look at it on its surface, it's like, well, how can you do that? It's like, well, A, we have the technology so that, again, that system to stand on, and B, you've got to be the right makeup. Like you've mentioned before, the passion should be not in coaching dope-ass workouts, but as a trainer, but in actually helping people. Right. And we're giving you a vehicle to do that, but you got to go out there with your heart first and say, these people right in front of me right now, what do they need from me?
Yeah, I mean, right? It's just like a true interest in other people. I mean, we'll do things in here where we're literally like, all right, during your shifts this morning, I want you to learn 2 things about every client that walks in, right? And we'll talk about it later, right? Kind of coach, get people comfortable to doing those things. But that's what it is, right? Because if you're training a person one-on-one, you literally, like you said, you know everything about this person. You might be like their second kid.
Yeah. Well, in a lot of ways you are. You become a friend, a confidant, all the things that right. in a healthy relationship between trainer and client can be very impactful. Again, it's tough to then keep those professional boundaries. I think we've all struggled with that, people that have been in that seat.
Yeah.
So I would say, not me. I'm very professional. I mean, listen, Madonna's baby's not mine.
Oh, here
I've
we go.
said that a million times.
Get to that?
Well, I mean, the only way it wasn't was because of my professional boundaries. She wanted me to give her a baby, but I didn't do it. I didn't, Max. I'm a professional trainer.
And a boy.
Thank you.
Proud of you.
Thank you. I want some props. That's all I'm looking for. Some props. Thank you. I'm proud of myself. I'm proper baiting, as we say.
Yeah, that's right.
But I think, listening to this, I hope it helps like our franchisees understand, like each individual is the same. Coaching great workouts is not enough. Right. Certainly with the brand promise of personal training. It's got to be about everything they're doing outside the gym. It can be as simple as, Matt, how's it going with your nutrition?
Oh, man, it's pretty bad.
Right.
It's not. No.
Are we role playing? What are we doing here?
I know.
But
that was that time to confess.
Very common, right? Or like you just pick, like okay, my job is to get in front of these people and to get them to have live a healthier lifestyle. They're obviously here. I'm going to coach a great workout. That's just barely gives you the right to be in business. Yeah. A place is clean. I'm here. The workouts are scientific. The leveling system's dialed in. That's the platform. That's the systematic approach. That is not what makes you a personal training facility.
Right.
It's the care. It's the lens on the business that makes you personal training. That comes from getting them to do things outside the gym that you need them to do. We have the tools for that as well. We have an amazing app. It's like, how's your nutrition going? Oh, I don't know. I mean, if you don't count the bottle of wine and the cheesecake I ate last night, it's like, all right, well, listen, I mean, you still have weight loss goal, right? Yeah. Okay. And those aren't good things.
Right.
Yeah. I know. All right. Well, let's get moving on it. Agreed? Can we do that? Fair enough? Yes. Okay, great. Here's what I want you to do. pull in MyFitnessPal, you tell them how to do it right. I want you to track your protein grams for a week. I need you at whatever, okay, you're 140 pounds of lean body weight. Like I need you at 140 grams a day.
Right.
If you can't get there, we'll get you protein stuff, whatever, but that's where we need to start. And they'll say, okay. Well, what you're doing then by default is, yes, you're holding them accountable, and that's going to move them forward. You're also building value in what you do. Because if, in fact, you're seen through the lens of the consumer as just workouts, it's expensive, right? I mean, you're charging a very, very valuable, low-cost rate for personal training.
Right.
But if you're just workouts, then by default, you could be lumped in with class-based concepts, which are going to be $150 cheaper.
Right.
So be better than that by approaching each individual in each session for just that, exactly what they are.
Yeah.
An individual, what do they need? And how can I ask them the right questions and move them in the right direction outside of these four walls?
Yeah, I mean, that's why they come in the door. We have a scripted sales process that literally allows you to really make it all about them, create all those expectations of what we're going to be doing during this journey, and then it's just continually following up, doing those things. And then whatever road that may take, because like you said, that fitness journey is all over the place, right? Started out here, but now we're way left and we're just trying to survive, and I'm super stressed at work, and like, please just help me, keep me accountable, coming to the gym 2 days a week. Got it.
Right, but you have to know that, and that's different than the person next to them who is very motivated right now, is planning on running a half marathon. So you're training them around that, which is different than the other person who's like, just leave me alone. I just want trying to get here 2 days a week. Ha, ha, ha. Great. Compared to the advanced person that's been here 30 years and they're just on a maintenance plan, to the brand new person who's trying to lose 50 pounds. Yes, the programming can accommodate all those people, but you have to accommodate them emotionally and approach them as individuals, which they are, and that's what they're paying you to do. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
So I hope that helps everyone understand. It's the systems are built to certainly, and if you have a fitness business, build these systems. The systems are there to support, but ultimately what's going to make this brand and or your brand say personal training and mean it is the care that you have for the clients, the ability to approach each person individually, and the things that you can hold them accountable to outside of the gym to make them a healthier individual, whatever that means to them.
Yeah, perfect.
Agreed? All right. Hope that helps you guys, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace.